It is 6 o'clock, so we will call the meeting November 6th, 2024 to order. And roll call, all council is here. Tina, Councillor Dealey is online. If anybody has anything to declare conflict of interest, now would be the time. Seeing none. Addition, deletion, approval of the agenda. If anybody has anything to add or delete from the agenda? Seeing none, we're going great. We'll just do 6:20. Oh, now it's sorry. I need a motion to accept the agenda.
I will accept the agenda as is. I'll second you.
Moved by Councilor Bent, seconded by Deputy Mayor Ferguson. Question on the motion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, seeing none, motion's passed. Approval of the minutes, we'll do both as usual, regular council meeting of October 2nd, 2024. And the committee of the whole, October 16th, 2024, looking for a motion to accept both those minutes.
I'll give you the motion.
Motion Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Thompson. Question on the motion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion passed. Presentation to council, going to assume that's, no,
No,
that's
Alex,
not Alex.
questions on the
Roll
roll.
plan, well, I knew that, but I didn't see,
No presentation.
okay, but. Okay, so it's under new business. All right. Business arising from the minutes, number 7. Logo guidelines and policy, as per council's request for a policy and guidelines usage of the new logo. The draft documents were attached to the agenda package, and everybody have a chance to go through that.
Correct. Yes.
And we'll need a motion if everybody is good to accept that.
I move we accept the.
Councillor Thompson moved, seconded by Councillor Bent. You were good with that, Councillor Dealey? See, I didn't forget.
Yes.
Questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion's passed. Strategic document for council discussion at our committee of the whole meeting on October 16th, the attached updated document attached to tonight's agenda for your consideration. And you all have that on in your package, and everybody could review, or did review that.
Yes.
We'll look for a motion to move that.
I'll give you the motion.
Motion Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Bent. Questions on the motion?
I have a question.
Yep.
Under the community and economic empowerment. The first sentence is, refers to the process of improving the well-being of individuals and groups within a specific, or within, yes, a specific area. I don't know what specific area means. Can I get clarification on
That would be the community Fundy Shores, so maybe that word should, maybe instead of specific, it should say Fundy Shores.
that? I think so, and also that is in the, rural plan.
Okay, and that is under economic.
So.
It's not that bad.
No. Okay,
You got that to make the changes, so we're good with the motion?
Yeah.
With the changes, everybody's good? Okay.
Yes, yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Against, seeing none, motion's carried. 7C, 2025 terms of reference for committees, again, per council's review on October 16th, find attached the new committee terms of reference, if approval come into effect on January 1st, 2025. And everybody had that in their package, and I believe that is all the committees, right, that are merged, so it's community.
Yes,
Okay.
everything's all under the new classifications, and the change will need to be made in that document as
And I
well,
was not, yeah,
because that's in the thing.
No, it's
so it'll be
good.
in the 3 documents, the original, that one, and then the plan. Okay.
Yes.
That was
Yeah.
very easy.
So I'll need a motion to move that one as well.
I'll make that motion to.
Moved by
accept
Councillor
the Terms of reference.
Vince, seconded by Councillor Sonia. Questions on the motion? Councillor Daly, you good?
I did have one question.
Oh,
In the terms of reference on committees, it says that the chair can remove someone from the committee.
If they haven't been there for the 3 meetings.
So that's, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just, it's not.
Is it not laid out while they're?
And that was there before. too.
yeah, that's the
Yeah.
same as what it was.
Okay, yeah.
in
And I just
original.
happen to, there were
Notice
that.
changes. No,
No.
Yeah, I think the bigger change would just merge them and change the name of your.
and co-chairs instead of the
Yeah.
chair.
So most of the rest are the same.
Okay.
Any other questions on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Next. Motion carried. 7D, scent-free policy. As per council's request at the October 16th committee of the whole meeting. Draft scent-free policy for Fundy Shores office was attached to tonight's package or the agenda. Everybody had a chance to review that policy.
I thought we were going scent reduced.
We can change it to scent reduced.
Would that change the
Most-
stuff?
I find that if you say scent free, majority of the time it is scent reduced, that's the best you're gonna get.
Because people use hair
So,
shampoo, whatever
deodorant,
that is scent.
cream.
It's just, I think, being more cognizant of what we're using.
Yeah, when you say scent free, yeah. That's what we find in workplaces anyway.
Yeah. Hand cream's one of the worst ones.
Did you want
No.
a change or?
Is it, oh, yeah, I need the motion.
Yeah, so you, okay. Motion to move the scent-free policy.
I'll give you the motion.
Motion.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Deputy Mayor Ferguson, second by
Yeah.
Councilor Thompson. Questions on the motion?
Does it say anything about signage in the office?
There will be signage just when you come in through the door.
Okay, but does it need to be in the policy?
I was
Sorry.
really sick, I can't remember all.
I don't, well, no, I don't, it's not in that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
No, it's not in it, so I think your
So we should
question is,
add
should we add? it in
Yeah.
there?
Would you, I can add it if you'd like, and just say we'll have signage posted, and we can even add it, I was thinking at the bottom of our emails.
well, or post this, because it's the only way people that here are gonna know.
Should it also apply to all our buildings? I'm just asking.
I would, if we were to apply to like fire departments and stuff, I would ask them
Yeah.
first, just to get their input. I don't think it'd be too big of an issue, but
And,
it'd be nice to have their input before putting it on their facilities as well.
and if it is a scent-free workplace policy, it would apply to all of our infrastructure, wouldn't it, eventually?
Oh, yeah, but I mean, right now, it just says for the office.
I think maybe for the sent one, maybe to send something cheap, just to, in an email, and just say, here's, this was.
This
If
is what
it
we're
does pass, this is what we're gonna do, you know, how would you, you may be okay with it, or you may want to change, I don't know.
Okay.
So I think we were second. Any other questions on the motion? Lost track, make sure we had a second. Councilor Daly, any questions?
No, one.
All those in favor?
I,
Again? Motion's passed. 7E, update on terms of reference with Eastern Charlotte. CAO Brown has shared the document with CAO Gadet of Eastern Charlotte to review and provide comments.
That's
Would you
all
like
really
to-
at this time.
Okay.
I did forward the document, and I stopped in and chatted with him for a minute. But he hadn't had enough time to really go over it. He's been quite busy.
So. Is the document for a motion and
Tonight for us, no, I wanted to get both communities' opinions on it before we actually move. I wanted to make it a good document before we ask council to
so I'm
approve
gonna scratch that, that's just a
it.
review.
Review.
Okay. And everybody knows what that was all about, okay, for just pertaining to the, because that name has changed to
So,
for Patrick Commerce, okay. All right, and 7F, rural plan.
sorry.
Yeah, so I guess just for everybody, it was accepted by if accepted by council, the next step in the process to request track review and provide the written opinion on the document and to hold another public hearing for objections. So do you want the motion now or that says anything, because we'll get the motion first for the question. So I'm looking for, if in your package, there is the two motions I will need on the rural plan. So whoever wants to make either the two motions or the first motion.
Can we make them together?
No, I'd make them separately.
separate.
Okay, I'll give you the motion one then.
Okay.
Do you want me to read it?
Yeah.
Be it resolved that the Council for the Rural Community of Fundy Shores requests the written views of the Planning Review and Adjustment Committee on the proposed rural plan bylaw draft.
And just because Alex is right here, should we put a deadline on that request for them?
When you request it, the acts, it stipulates you have 30, the committee has 30 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
And their input can come after our public hearing, right?
It could, yeah, so if the public hearing date is.
We were looking at
before-
December the 5th, which would be 22 or 23 days out.
No, they should be able to get a view, I imagine, for their next meeting, so we'll get the package out to the committee. At the end of this week, and if that does go through council, we'll put it in your package for the practice, yeah.
Alright, so for the first motion, I am looking for a second removed by Deputy Mayor Ferguson, seconded by
I'll second.
Councillor Bent. Questions on that motion?
Is that where I should ask the questions about the plan, so.
This is only the one that's going to send to Brad. And again, I might be wrong on that, but I think to make the both motions and then ask the questions on the overall. Or would you?
I would ask the
now
questions in the middle. Or, yeah, now we're in the middle, they need to come before that
For
final
the
day.
second, okay, so I would question before we get it approved on the first motions, questions on the motion.
Okay, so here I go. One of the stupid thing is. We had a whole lot of issues about chickens in our last meeting. And I know it's probably somewhere under the community plan or something, but should we have something in writing about how many chickens a person can have on their 1 acre of land? Just,
And I think we discussed that a couple of weeks ago, so Alex can probably provide some
Sure.
great input on
Yeah, so yeah, this has been looked at several times and through talking with. Farmers and looking at different land use conflicts and then the Department of Agriculture as well. And the way it works is if you're gonna be having an agriculture use with livestock. Then you still need the hectare of land.
well, yeah.
Yeah, but beneath that, if you are on a 1 acre lot and you wanna have chickens. Then it defines an accessory use as including up to 20,
And that's in here now? I
yes,
missed that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
so that's more like the idea that's part of your garden.
Yeah.
You're not a farmer.
Okay, as long as it's there. Another thing, setback on coastlines is, I know you got the 100 for the height, but I think we should have 30. And I think we talked about this before,
Yes.
and I didn't see that in the.
Okay. It is in there, so, but there's a. You have to look at it from the big picture here. So it's, the way it's done is through the zone. So if you look at the zone map, I brought the big
Do you need help holding it up?
yeah, maybe we do that, actually, because that would be better.
Are we gonna keep that, put it in on?
Yes,
Yeah.
because we have meetings coming up where we're gonna need
I did
it.
notice that this print printer did something with this, so it might give you a better print, giving you like 20 prints to ACAP, so. We'll probably get a new, but this.
Oh, yeah.
Good, so. The conservation zone, which largely follows. Wetlands or provincial parks or. Areas that there's conservation easements that are private. Obviously drinking watershed, Musquash. It also applies to situations where you have. Coastal property and it's 30 meters.
Mhm.
And so that conservation zone, if you have private property in it. There's still gotta be some reasonable limitations
Yeah.
for how you would use your property. The rural plan can't prohibit any alterations or anything to houses already there. But it would prevent new ones from going within 30 meters along the coast.
Okay,
So
but it doesn't prevent something that's already there that they want to double the size of.
yeah, so there is rules about how you could do an expansion if there, yeah.
Nothing, okay, so
Yeah.
that's there, I didn't see it, I went.
And it's
through it,
really
I didn't
small though
see it.
too on that
Yeah.
map, but it's, you can see
Yeah.
if you want.
It does follow
Right
the
in
entire
here.
coast, yeah,
Okay.
with one exception, it won't follow places where there's working harbors. So that
Yeah.
if there's new developments at the working harbors, then they can be done, they'll just have to be, the structure will be built to a certain elevation, so they're prepared for sea level rises.
And
And
now,
you also pulled up the clause that the coastal zone is now considered a special policy area.
But yeah, there's a coastal special policy area,
Right.
and that got reformatted, Sue and Linda and I did a little bit of workshopping around that, so. That does apply to the coastal policy area is actually 100 meters.
Yeah.
And in the coastal policy area, there's actions that council could take, but also. The conditions around the height of new
Yeah.
development, so that generally to protect the coastal scenery, that you don't have massive buildings plopped along the shorefront.
I'm good
Would you
with it.
consider the marsh shorefront?
So if it's within 100 meters of the salt water, then it would be in that,
Well, the
no, it would be its own
market-
special policy area, yeah,
It's just there's a building going, just
down
down
the
here,
road.
right.
yeah.
Which the rural plan's not in place yet, so.
It was
Yes,
the
but-
old plan.
Yeah,
I've got more.
No, I just wanted,
Then you would-
no, that's what I was asking, if she was okay with that.
So
Just go be.
I didn't wanna see you guys standing there for the next.
I would like to see personally the definition of property lines on the shoreline. About what high tide, the normal high tide, what that means, I know it's changing, but I'd like to see that in print.
okay, so there is a section that deals with this.
Yes.
Gonna pull it up here.
There's some, so it's overwhelming.
There's that.
There's so much detail.
Yeah,
It's
you know, so
overwhelming.
much in this.
Yeah,
I know,
I've gone through this.
That's why you would.
You've read it lots.
Okay.
Lots and lots.
Like I sent him a list of questions and haven't answered each one.
Yeah,
So refer to where it was at.
yeah.
And I thought, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that was the. Sure, what the high tide, because even though our properties, our deeds say if you
Yeah.
own. A boundary, right, and.
Yeah.
But it goes past that and it's just clarification.
Yes.
It's not changing per se, it's clarification.
So this is a great point, and there's several deeded water lots in the
Yeah.
area.
Yeah,
And so, yeah, they own that, the bottom,
yeah,
like this, I mean, you can still sail a boat through there. If you're not setting anchors down and hanging out there.
but it's really the high water mark that
Yeah,
people put in. Extending the property past.
so you see, oh, so there's a couple things here, so you'll see, the zoning map will just follow the ordinary highway. But there's a interpretation clause, on zone boundaries, and that's section 3.2 on page 48. 3.2.1 subsection 6. I'll give you a second to find that if you're looking it up. It's page 48, right there at the bottom. Says notwithstanding anything contained in this bylaw, where a lot on a water course, a portion thereof. Is shown to not have a zone on the zoning map. A zone shall be determined by applying the nearest zone in proximity to the lot or the portion thereof. So what that means, so for these water lots that are along the coast, and water course includes the Bay of Fundy. And estuaries of it, if you have a water lot that goes into the. Estuary or into the ocean, well, that's gonna be in the conservation zone. by virtue of being, that's the zone that touches the area that's
But the
under.
30 meter setback is, where is the high water mark? That's the problem. I think.
No, so that's why we did it this way too, because if, let's say. The zoning map shows that this 30 meters runs along the coast and it's a conservation zone. And let's say this property over here is this water lot that's deeded to them. Well, that whole water lot,
That's different.
by definition, will be part of the conservation zone and will be not developable for new
Yeah.
structures. So that does account for this scenario. We looked at that. So the conservation zone doesn't permit new residential or commercial developments unless they're already there and you can adapt what's there, right? So if that conservation zone goes into the water lots, it's not gonna allow new development in that area.
But again, if it's already there, if they want to go out closer.
Okay, so you're talking the infilling?
Infilling, or
Yeah.
maybe they want to build their cottage out.
Right.
20 feet.
Right, yeah, so there's, when it comes to the infilling, this is actually one of the things that got workshopped when we sat down to look at the coastal policy area. To make sure that it is, not allowing for these kinds of situations where people just dump a ton of rocks or build retaining walls into the ocean. To essentially reclaim. The idea would be that if you are going to be infilling to in excess of 1 meter. Then you have to go through a process where terms and conditions apply to that development. And now it's more clearly stated that if you're gonna do that, then you have to use a green shore protection method to do so. It doesn't,
But that's the infill. What about structures? What about?
the structures would be regulated through the zone. So we give the permits based on what zone you're in.
But it's a building that already exists.
Okay.
I'm just saying this fictitious.
Right. Yeah, so the building that already exists that you are trying to get an approval to expand, okay, so let's.
Maybe put a brand on the front or.
Beautiful on research. Yeah, okay, so there would be a couple things, they would have to meet their setback requirements. So if they have a lot line there and they want to just go past lot line, that would be something they would not be able to do. So there's still setback requirements that are. Would prevent additions that would go further. We'd also have the, like I said, the requirements on the infilling, so if you had to put in a lot of fill to build a new structure. The terms and conditions also have to take into account what the plan policy is for that area. So no new development that's essentially gonna compromise the shoreline and so there's that protection as well. And lastly, when you're looking at these developments that are going out into the tidal flats, if that's where you're thinking about, that's where the Crown Lands actually has jurisdiction as well. So there's a couple layers to this. So it's not just so much that someone who's already there can just keep expanding outward into the ocean. There's a lot of breaks on that development.
Next one. We're getting through them fast. On page 26, government service and institutional development, 1.5. It mentions that correctional facilities councils may permit, keyword being may permit the
Yeah.
development of correctional facilities. Wouldn't that have to go through public hearings
Yeah.
and everything?
That, shouldn't that be in there as well?
So that's what section 59 is that it's a rezoning
Okay.
public hearing requirement.
Okay,
So it's good to have this because let's say there was also a proposal of the province to build a new prison. And they found land in DTI and Fundy Shores and they were just gonna go ahead and do it. Now that you have this here, the only way they could. Avoid the public hearing is they have to go to cabinet and supersede your rural plan, which is a politically toxic thing to do. And I suppose they wouldn't do it. So if you have a process, they're gonna try to follow it since. I know this question about the correctional facilities came up from a resident. They're like, why would you even put it in there? Because it's there in case it ever were a scenario and you need it and you can point to it and say, province, you gotta do this. And you have to do something really nasty if you want to not go through it.
okay. Good with that one. And then I wanted to bring up basically two other things. I have a question about a definition too, but in our last public meeting, there was a lot of talk about if you were gonna subdivide and some people wanted to have their family have lots and stuff like that. And you had to have permission for a road, but we have a lot of private roads. Why couldn't they subdivide and do it on a private road?
Yeah, and you can still do private roads with this.
But do they have to fall under the same thing, that they have to be so many feet?
So what it would be is that it follows the zone boundary. So if you're gonna do 1 acre lots that are gonna be just primarily residential, keeping that closer to the road. And whereas the more back parts of the properties are more designated for rural resource activities where you got your sawmills, where you've got your livestock and so on and so forth. You allow a lot of what's called ridden development to go create these cul-de-sacs off of your main roads into the backlands. Well, the lands beside them that may have, hoped to do some resource activity, may hope to have to maintain their woodlot or their farm. Now they got houses all fronting beside, or all beside them. And so that's where you actually can choke out rural resource development. And so one of the things we have to think about too is we have the statements of public interest that say you have to direct development, promote development along the publicly maintained roads.
Development, but I wouldn't call, for instance, what the guy that complained so much, Richard, he was upset that his family wouldn't be able to build. And I'd like to make it would be nice if we could let that happen. I think it would make a lot of people happy. If
He
there's
owns
a
a
way
lot of
we
land.
can do it.
Private road through it all.
Is this in Dipper Harbor?
Yes.
Yes, okay, so actually,
And yeah, I've had the conversation with them.
yeah,
I'm sure you did, so.
yeah, and actually, I think we have a solution for
Okay.
them, and so there is, in that case, what we were looking at is. Where specifically him, his land has a bunch of land, or according to this draft plan. A big chunk of the area he wants to subdivide for his children is designated for that growth. And there's one lot on the plan that they wanted to create a very long cul-de-sac to get to. And we said, look, can't do it this way, just based on statements of public interest, you're creating really long private access to get to one house. And this is gonna be a challenge, but if you brought that lot, that's, it's gonna be a beautiful lot, I'm sure. But if you draw the boundaries of that lot, so it connects back to where the existing road is and where the other lots are. And it just happens to have a long driveway, and it's a private driveway, will always be in that one ownership, that's not an issue, we can deal with that, and so that's what we communicated to those guys. I think we're good with that one, and I think he's gonna be satisfied with that.
I'm sure there will be others, even like Olin's property.
For sure.
For instance, that we walked through the woods.
It's the same, they would have one long driveway in and out that's already been.
Yeah.
But, so I guess my question would be to that, and I'm glad that there's a resolution for that coming, because I know we've had a lot of discussions on it, and to me as well, I think he was right. I mean, he it's a lot of land and he'd like to,
Yes.
you know, give it to his children and do things with it. So would those exceptions be a possibility for other,
Yes,
with it,
Yeah.
okay?
and so this is what we also talked about, so.
Okay.
What we're gonna do with Richard and his family is just, it's gonna go to PrAC and it will be approved at committee level.
Right.
Council's not even gonna see it, right? It's gonna be considered just an administrative approval. You know, not a big issue. And as long as we got good parameters around these private accesses, they're more or less okay. They can be problematic and so on, but as long as they're not overly long and not too many lots all sharing it, and there's not a lot of topography issues and so on and so forth, there's a lot of issues that can happen. As long as you follow some good guidance around the private access, I think they're a reasonable way to develop land, and they also reduce the liability for the local government or the provincial government to maintain the roads forever. But what we said to them in that case is like, if you had this development and you had, say, 30 lots up and down that super long private access proposed, maybe that's not your plan today, but someone who maybe inherits or buys your land in the future looks at that, says, hey, there's a great opportunity for that many lots. Now the amount of pressure on that private road to be maintained and brought up to a public standard starts coming back to council. Or there's a lot of problems with the disputes between neighbors on maintenance and payments and so on and so forth. And if some stuff happens where that road ceases to be maintained in a good enough condition, emergency vehicles may not be able to go down. There's really good reasons to have limitations on private accesses, but what we were saying that when we sat down, when we started talking about this, I said, look, if council has a proposal for development that includes creating a new road and having new lots developed off of it, you can still do it in this plan. It's not that you have to throw the plan out and start new. What you do is you basically approve that development at this table. You look at it and you say, we want to do an integrated development zone. It's not within this plan, but it's a custom zone for this spot in particular. And it's not precedent setting. You don't have to worry about every person coming to your desk asking for the exact same thing. Because you can take an integrated development zone and you say, for this location only, we're going to consider this development. Or if council itself is wanting to contract with a third party and do some development of your own, you can do what's called a development scheme bylaw and do your own subdivisions. And even if it's not listed here, even if it's not conforming with the zone map. So integrated development zone or development scheme, they don't have to conform with the zone map. Council can decide those, and those are developments that really it's good because you're also getting an opportunity to decide where the maybe little parks, tot lots might go, where trails might go, and so on and so forth, drainage and all those
Do
things.
all developments have to come to
No,
council?
so this is where this is why around, we have the 140 meters from the public road as a rule of thumb to say, if you're within that, you can get at least 2 lots back to back. So somebody has a house at the road and they want to provide some a lot for their child in behind them. Well, that 140 meters is designed to give the ability for everyone with road frontage ability to subdivide in behind them for a residential only lot, and then retain any land further behind for any sort of rural resource activities.
But I guess what I meant is if it's the proper distance and
Yeah.
it's not, it's going to hook into a connector road or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's going to be in the settlement zone and a subdivision
Yeah.
or a development, whatever you want to call it. Does that come to council?
No, because we want to promote that kind of development, so that's where it's by right. Say, you know, this is your land, you know, this is reasonable, it's within the plan. If it's a new private access that's being proposed, it does have to go to PrAC for administrative review and approval. But a lot of approvals, in the way the Community Planning Act work is by right. If it's listed in your zone, or say listed in your rural plan as permitted, then they apply and get a permit. That's how it.
And if it were more than 4
is it 4 lots, 4 buildings, then they'd have to have septic, and that would have to be approved and all that. That's
Yes,
still come to council.
Well, how much land?
Yeah, depends how much land that they have to go.
yeah,
I mean, I just wanna make sure that if we do these subdivisions and so on, that they're done properly and they're done so the community is comfortable with them.
and that's actually one of the great things about having it written this way is that. Your minor subdivisions, 1 or 2 lots is gonna be just, you know, here's your permit or here's your subdivision approval. But the bigger subdivisions that require large roads or trails or infrastructure, parks or other considerations, water access. It gives you council the ability to look at your whole set of policies that you're planning and apply it to the subdivision. When it's done at PrAC, they only have very limited power, they're only gonna consider the location of the private access, they don't have the power to look at all those other things. The way the act is written. So having more of the larger scale subdivisions come to you. Is the purpose of the plan.
Come to us as in physically or to build sort of.
They come to you as an application that
Oh,
can then be
an
heard by the
application.
public at public hearing,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Hmm.
Now I got an easy one. Bare land condominium, what does that mean?
Oh, it's an interesting form of land tenure, so. They have one of these in Bundy St. Martin's. That's been debated and looked at in a million different ways. But really, it's not much different than a fee simple subdivision, and when I say fee simple, you own a lot. In the regular way you think of that, that's called a fee simple lot. You have an acre of land, 54-meter frontage or so on, and that's yours, you have your freehold title to it. Okay, let's say you have a tract of land that's 50 hectares, but you really only have 5 or so hectares that are really developable. Well, in that case, you can do is you can take that 50 so on hectares and you can concentrate some of the development without overdeveloping, so there's still a cap on density, so it'd be equivalent to what a subdivision could yield. But you can actually do more development on a smaller portion with shared communal septic services. But they'd be private and run by the condominium association. So each unit of land in a bare land condo, it might be of a 1/4 acre size. But you have to connect to the communal well and septic. And your 1/4 acre unit of land could be built on with a regular building permit. And it might just look like a single family home that you'd see on a 1 acre lot, it's just that they're on a 1/4 acre lot. And that's what it is.
Okay, that would, I really didn't know what that was. So, the other one I have, and I think I'm gonna stop at this one, is camp. Now, I grew up with camps around me in this area, as most of you did. To me, a camp was a seasonal dwelling, but a lot of them are not winterized. Do they fall under dwellings or do they fall under the camp, which is a trailer or, it's on page 39, it's the definition.
So I think what we did with camp, is we tried to separate. You know. We tried to separate, dwelling from camp, so. I have a little camp, a little cabin
Yeah.
that I built, and.
Did you get a permit?
I, yeah.
Sure you did.
I didn't get a building permit, it was under that sense. So anyway, yeah, so just development. So a small cabin that is, in my case, it's 3 seasons, so it's insulated and stuff like that. It's still classified as a dwelling, because I would have, there's a bathroom in there, it's all off grid and composting toilet, things like that. But what happens, and it's not my case, but some people, they look at their camps, their cabin they build, and they're, you know, this, and this, and this, we could make this a requirement. And so it happens all the time, and so places that were really designed for seasonal, a lot of these private accesses, a lot of these ones go right to like kilometers into the forest. All of a sudden, they become people's retirement homes.
Yeah.
And they're not necessarily, so we really need to think of, we just need to call what it is. It's dwelling.
But if
it's-
it is a dwelling.
Yeah.
Then we bite ourselves in the foot with some of your planning, because now you have a building on the lot and they extend it.
Mhm.
Sure, they have to get a building permit, but if they meet the parameters, they can do it as an extension.
Yeah.
Instead of, and not have to meet all the requirements.
So my understanding of the camp, based on the definition now, was periodic recreational use,
Mhm.
and it doesn't say. A house.
No,
It is things that are movable, like
Yeah.
a trailer, those types of things.
glamping dome could
Or
be in there,
your,
a
like,
yurt.
those are all very
But
mobile.
it's, yeah,
They're all
Yeah.
versus what you guys are talking about in someone building a cottage and then deciding to expand on it as their full-time dwelling. So to me, when I read it, those are the two differences.
Yeah, so we just call the building with these, they are fixed to the ground.
Right, that's a dwelling.
Even if it's seasonal, these often will change and evolve over time, and let's just call it dwelling from the get-go.
Yeah, and camp is basically they're all mobile.
Yeah, I just wanted, again, a clarification on all these things.
Yeah.
And then if someone asks you, at least you have a
yeah,
little bit of.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes, for the sake of a plan, you kind of have to say, in our plan, a camp means this. And common, you know, and so someone might have a cabin, they call it camp, and that's fine. But when we give them an approval or permit for a new one, we're gonna call it a dwelling.
Yeah.
Cause we'll need to get, you know, we need to make sure that they're off grid, or we need to make sure that they're connected to septic.
Well, thank you very much for explaining all my questions. Do you have any over there?
No, actually, I sent him a list.
Yeah.
So
He answered
everybody,
them all.
there is a motion on, the motion's still on the table, so any other questions? Councillor Deely?
No, I'm good.
So seeing no other questions, I will be looking for all those in favor.
Hi.
Minded. Motion has passed. I will now need a mover for the second motion.
I will move the second motion. Be it resolved that the council for the Rural Committee of Fundy Shores set December 5th, 2024 at 6 p.m. at the Musquash Firehouse Station 1 as the date, place, and time for a public hearing of objections on the proposed rural plan by law draft.
I'll second them.
Seconded by Deputy Mayor Ferguson. Questions on the motion? Seeing none, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion is moved, so we will be setting that for December 5th, 2024, 6 p.m. Musquash Firehouse. Thank you, everybody.
You got that for your record,
You can do the time,
Six.
6,
at the far.
Musquash Firehouse, so that would be Station 1.
Station 1.
Your worship, I have a question about that. We talked about the idea of putting a mailer out, and we're prepared to do that. There's that business meeting that's happening that Charlene is putting on. There's ACAP's climate, I haven't talked to them about this, but their meetings around the climate adaptation plan. Do you want to put more than one thing on the mailer?
We were getting ready to do our
Okay,
community mailer.
Okay.
We were hoping to get it out for Monday,
okay, yeah.
so
Do you want to put this on there?
Yes.
I'll give you something, before then.
now will that affect our timing, even if it doesn't go till Monday?
Oh, that should be fine, as long as, so December 5th, we need 21 days.
It's 21, it's like
It's gonna be
22 or
great,
24,
yeah.
something like that,
That's fine, so
Okay.
what we'll do is put on, say,
tomorrow,
tomorrow,
okay,
and that's your
And then-
legal basis.
and then do the mailer.
Mailer's bonus, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Website,
So you're putting with a mailer to public.
We're gonna go in with the community mailers.
Yeah,
Okay,
we'll
so we
send that
have to
out first.
remember the timeline on, they only do mail outs on certain dates.
Oh,
Funding
oh.
boards.
Okay, do we know what day that is?
There's a certain day they deliver these on Wednesday, I believe, but you'd have to check.
Okay, well, as long as we have our base covered with the
Website.
website.
Just as long as it gets out, because
Oh,
it doesn't
got a
come out
question.
after.
Post
the
office
fact.
going on strike, isn't it?
Yes.
Sorry.
They gave notice.
Yeah, well, I got you just 1 second, Tina.
The post office is going on strike, isn't it?
I think they were given notice, but I don't think it's,
I
they've
just
announced the date.
noticed, yeah,
Okay,
so I don't,
I don't
maybe,
know, I'm just.
yeah, there's no notice as of yet. I mean, they said there would be, the possibility is there. But I mean, if it's not given between now and by Monday, if it's sent them Monday for here and it's still.
well, worst comes to worst, hopefully we can get them out tomorrow even. Get them at least to the post office.
Now, does our post office cover Port Logan as well? Yes. I didn't know.
Yeah, the-
Enfield covered.
Yeah.
covered that.
Councillor Dealy?
That was my comment as well. I did read it on Facebook that they had served 72-hour strike notice. And that
So
they
they
could start as
had-
early as Friday.
Okay, so they have served it. I know earlier today, I knew that it was a possibility, so. Yeah, they do. Bill. So if they give it Friday, nothing will move probably.
But if I can get it out tomorrow, they might be able, maybe they'll get it out by Friday. I don't know. We'll do our very, very best to get it into the mail. I mean, I can't control anything that happens outside of us
Yeah,
getting it.
no,
We
that-
ended
that's-
up maybe the public places like Wilson's and whatever, well.
I was gonna say if we had extra,
What?
just the mailers.
If there's.
That way,
strike,
if there's
you
strike
use
and they have those and we had extra, we could do what we could do.
Sure.
Just to give it our utmost, I guess, the best that we could do.
Yeah, because that's the biggest complaint, that nobody knows
Right.
that these things are going on, and
And again, we
they're
can
not
only,
on Facebook and.
to Linda's point, I guess we can only do what we, I mean, nobody anticipated a strike or,
No.
and maybe it will be diverted by then, it's. Yeah,
Maybe you should know.
Can we, also get it on the radio station that's in St. Stephen or something?
You can always ask. I
You
mean,
could even put it on the same time, it's a community goal.
so is there something, and whether you want to do it or I can, because we do have a media for this area contact list, so I can send it to Acadia Broadcasting and those, and he can. No different than we would for like a community event or.
if you can get me your wording tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll-
I will. I'll make sure it gets out the door. We'll see how far it gets after
First thing I'll
that.
do tomorrow.
Okay, so we're
Same.
all good on everything? Is Tina's hand because of,
Is your hand still up, Tina?
No, I guess I didn't know how to take it down. Sorry.
Oh, there you go.
okay, it's gone. I just wanted to be sure I didn't miss sure forget you, that's all. So moving on to 7G, I have his other, who's not.
Nothing.
Okay,
Please.
I just wanted to be sure. 8, department reports, general government, mayor's report, everybody got that online? I don't think there's anything that was outstanding that I wanted to make note of. Councilor's report, Deputy Mayor Ferguson.
My report was provided online. I'll also do just a quick update on the Economic Development Committee. We met last night to review the new draft economic development strategy. And there are a few questions and edits, so I anticipate a new draft, Linda.
I've asked for a new draft by the end of the month
Okay, good.
because it's gonna go to council.
Right, they
Yes.
were informed of that last night.
So we will get that draft, the new draft. to the
Yes.
council.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'd like to thank all the Economic Development Committee members for their dedication. They've always attended all of the meetings, so it was great to see them last night.
Councilor Bennett.
Mine was submitted online as well.
Did you want to have anything for your committee or?
And you know, we were invited to our economic committee meeting yesterday. We had limited participation because of other commitments. But they are aware and they are getting the minutes and I have actually called and talked to them.
And I'm assuming feedback for both those committees, because they're merging and everything was,
It was good. It was well accepted last night. I think it just, we had one common member and incorporating the community development committee, we just add one, or sorry, three.
yeah, and that's because I attended last night, that's what most of our committees anyway, they're overlapping
Yes.
of.
People.
Oh, that's great. Counselor Dealing,
My report wasn't submitted in time, so I have a very short one for Ward 2. Just that I had attended the regular council meeting, committee of the whole, attended the trunk or treat at Fundy Shore School. I attended the Funny Bay Seniors Annual Community Breakfast fundraiser for the local Fundy Shore School event. Called bingo at Station 1 and attended the Remembrance Day ceremony at Station 1 as well. And as for our recreation meetings, we haven't had any meetings since. But we do upcoming events. We have the ice liner that's going to have to be installed very soon. So we're planning a date on a weekend to try to get some volunteers to come and help us sweep and install that liner. And we'd like to do that either this weekend or the next weekend before it gets too cold. And also we have the December 21st Breakfast with Santa coming up at Station 1. That's all I have.
questions so far? Thank you, Tina, or Counselor Dealing, Counselor Sonia.
I submitted online. And I really have nothing for tourism. Of course, when we do have our next meeting, we combine with Tina. However, I've heard nothing for the hiking, so I've sort of given the hiking trail, so I've sort of given up on that. But I think we should reconsider with our purchase of land. We talked about one time possibly connecting a hiking trail through to Lookout Falls. I think if we do consider building one, we should consider that area instead of around here possibly.
Let's get that all. Okay, perfect. Any other questions? Counselor Thompson.
I submitted mine online as well, and I'll just do the crack as well. There was no crack meeting last month because there are no files. As well, I left something out. I did attend the UMNB conference in Fredericton on the 4th, 5th, and 6th, which I didn't put in my report. And as well, I did contact DTI concerning the citizens' anxiety or the lack of a guardrail being installed after Bell's Place for land erosion on Route 790. And I spoke with Travis. He did call me back. And he was going to the site to assess it. He did state though, if a guardrail was to be put into place, it wouldn't be till next year because the budget wouldn't allow it. But it's kind of a dangerous spot. People are concerned about it because they build it up and it's quite high now. And if you go off there, if it's high tide, you're in the water.
I did a DTI one too, because we've got a hole in the road because it's an old wooden culvert that has collapsed. They came and they filled it a little bit. I got 3 neighbors calling, so at the same time for it, so they came the next day, but they filled it and then they put some asphalt on it and it's already, you can see and so.
I just want to go back to Counselor Thompson's guardrail. Is that the guardrail here for this? Because I just heard you mention high tide.
The one we had discussed earlier and Linda had contact.
So just
I don't
the
think
two
anything's
separate-
been done with
Yeah.
that, the erosion underneath that. This is just before that.
Okay,
No,
I just wanted to make sure there were 2 separate.
They're 2 separate
Okay.
guardrails. They did put the guardrail on where the erosion is, but this is before that.
Okay.
So,
not perfect, but just so I know for clarification, that's all that it's two separate.
And
Okay.
I didn't say anything to Travis because we were kind of dealing with them, so. But maybe
More
if he
voices
hasn't
make it
been here
better.
to accept, we could mention that if he's this to him. And maybe he could go assess the erosion, but he's gonna have to go at low tide. Or he's not gonna see it. You have-
It's from the one that you gave me the pictures for, right?
Yes,
Cause I sent them in to TTL.
yeah, they have to go around the rock to the other side of the cottage, and that's where the erosion is, and you can't get down there on it.
And I, to Linda's point, just because we are on air tonight, is kind of feed it or put into that is the more voices, the better. So I always encourage people to go on our website online, the DTI, and submit a report and follow up with their counselor. And then you guys can follow up with Linda, and then we can all kind of funnel that into
Actually, I was
DTI.
gonna speak with a few of the citizens that talked to me about it. And get them to call as well.
Yes.
I thought that it's.
Yeah.
Reports there that few people have, they have concerns.
Oh, yeah, 100%, the more voices. Better. Any other questions? Lena, you good? Or Councilor Delia?
Yeah, that's fine.
So I'll just say quick thing then, same kind of concerns of public safety, policing, as you know, I did another interview with CDC. Last week, we have another one coming up next week, or another one with another outlet. So policing is ongoing, and the same thing, I would encourage people in the community to call in. If there's, problems at the intersection down here, racing of speed, whatever the case may be, the more calls that get circulated to them, that's what they put into their paperwork. So if they're only getting one call for Fundy Shores, they always come back to me and say, well, things are pretty good there because we've only got one call. And so I know it sounds the same thing I'm saying over and over, but that's what I'm getting from the ones that we deal with is you gotta make that call. So the more calls they get from people, call them, because they're the ones telling us to say that, the calls, so. Yeah, so policing for us, just so everybody's clear, is still an ongoing issue. We're still focusing on that. Again, it's not a quick process, but we are still going down that road. I guess my terminology I've been using was we're staying the course of where we've been. And that was it for public safety. We're trying to get a meeting in the next week or two. CAO report. I was just gonna put a line through there.
It's a report unavailable due to illness.
Duly noted. Planning and inspection, planning director's report was attached. Any questions or concerns?
Alex, do you know do you have this in front of you, June? Know what it, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what it means on line 4, the lot size requirement for 2 dwellings does not apply to garden suites, no variance was required?
I think she has the.
I see, you're talking about the full Excel spreadsheet, so. Can you read the note there?
That's what it said.
I sorry, if you don't mind just repeating it.
It says the lot size requirement for 2 dwellings does not apply to garden suites, no variance is required.
Yes, okay, so what happened?
Not approved, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not that the development never was given approval, the variance was not approved. So essentially, they were refunded. So I just made a note there that there was 2 minor variances issued by the development officer for small scale things, garage and deck on undersized lots, but then one was refunded because it's unnecessary.
Oh,
So they got an approval.
okay,
They just needed a development permit.
good.
Because if it was going to be a 2 dwelling, like a duplex, then you needed a certain amount of lot area,
Mhm.
but because it was a garden suite, you can do that on a WAG or
Gotcha,
normal lot,
thank you.
no problem.
Looking for a motion to move the planning report. Councilor Sonia, seconded by, Councilor Thompson. Questions, any further on the motion? Seeing, Councilor Daly, any questions?
Nope, none.
Okay, all those in favor? Contrary minded, seeing none, all good. Put you to work tonight, Alice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for
You're welcome,
coming,
guys.
Thank
I'm
them.
glad
and
to-
appreciate it.
See you.
Nay.
Public safety fire department report for September and October was attached. I will need a motion to move the report.
The report.
Councilor Bent, second for it.
I'll second it.
Deputy Ferguson, questions on the motion? All good, all those in favor? Contrary minded, seeing none, motion passed. Economic development synergy, the report is also attached. I will be looking for a motion to accept the report.
I did it in the show.
Deputy Mayor Ferguson, seconded by Councilor Sonia. Questions on the motion? Hearing or seeing none.
Now, this is the draft,
Tina's
correct?
hand up.
Hmm?
I said I was checking to see if Tina's.
No,
hand
this was
was up.
just the executive director's report. Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is not, yeah,
Not the.
the strategy, it's just synergies report. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'd be reminded, motion's carried. Recreation, community and culture report, attached. I will look for a motion to move that as well.
Some of that.
Moved by Councilor Bent, seconded by Councilor Thompson. Questions on the motion? All those in favor? Looking, I'm waiting for Tina's hand. I'm looking for the little hand now, so got me with the. All those in favor? Contrary minded? Seeing none, motion carried. Correspondence 10A. So we did receive a thank you card from Fundy Shore School, nice card that was signed by all of the grade 3 class that me and Linda got to post, and I keep saying I posted it on social media. It was probably my best meeting of the week. And so then I hope the other meetings I had, the people didn't get offended with that, but come on, we had fun. So I will read it. It was a really good, a meeting, and from what I'm hearing is they were quite enthused by it, so. So it says, "Dear Linda, Denny, and the town of Fundy Shores, thank you so much for the tour of your council chambers, your explanation of your role as an elected municipal government, and for answering questions about our government in general. We really appreciate the time you took to meet with us. Sincerely, Fundy Shore School, Mr. McDonald's grade 3 class." And again, they all signed it and sent it, and yeah, it was really I really enjoyed. That's again.
Was that your first tour, Dicky?
No, well, I've done the meetings at the school before, like went in and talked to
But no,
the class, but the
other-
first time that they come up to see,
That should be Frank.
right, so it was, yeah, they were quite, and I heard that one of the young ones that was here went to their daycare, and they were quite, or the after school, and they were quite excited that they got to meet the government, so.
That's so nice.
Yeah, we had fun, it was enjoyable. If I had more meetings like that, I would feel.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, correspondence that we issued, and those letters were all attached to. Your reports or the online, so congratulations to Ian Lee, who was elected at this virtual election as our MLA. And as you all know, we will be meeting with Ian tomorrow night here at 6 o'clock, so. He looks forward to coming to meet council and have a discussion with us, so we look forward to that. I also sent out a congratulatory letter to, no, I guess not Premier-elect now, the Premier, Susan Holt, and congratulations to Miss Holt, as they were quite proud because Miss Holt is the first female premier in the province of New Brunswick, and I can understand the thrill because I am, but we are the first council that are all women, and I think as they are proud of that, we should be proud of it as well, so. Anyway, that was sent out to the premier, and that was it for letters that went out.
I see you've requested a meeting at her earliest convenience in the letter.
Yes. Oh, thought you were just being.
That letter was written at 9:00 at night, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, mine, it was, yeah, it was a late night, I was up for the election, and
Yeah.
that was wrote during, it was.
That's good.
It was right after the vote count was done, it sent. So. Yeah. So, yeah, well, and we want a meeting with her and, you know, some others within the government as soon as possible. We would like to have discussions. General government report, which is attached, so we'll look for a motion to move that.
I'll give you the motion.
Motion by Deputy Mayor Ferguson, second by Councillor Tanya. My poor old head, I feel like a bobblehead. I'm glad that we don't have a large council. I'd really be,
Now that's a picture I'm not gonna get. of me.
Yeah.
Okay. You start.
All right. Questions on the motion?
We can't get one made.
No.
You did
Questions
it.
on the motion?
No, no,
No.
no questions about anything they're saying.
I think so. All those in favor of the motion? I'm trying to see none of them passing that and moving on. Approval of payments, the sewage commission for Thompson subdivision. Reminder again, these payments will be recouped following the reestablishment of the commission, which is happening
Monday.
Monday. I'm gonna make a note of that.
Yeah, you should have put that in the law.
It's in the it's in our next meetings.
It's, yeah, so it is there, and so we are looking for a total full amount of 2,130.49. I was just looking because I thought that was an error, but 2,130.49. Looking for a motion to pay those. Councillor Van, seconded by Councillor Thompson. Questions on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Don't remind it, motion passed. Why are you laughing?
I'm sorry, because I thought there was a question, like, oh no, what,
Oh,
I wasn't
Because I was
prepared.
gonna say, I looked at the screen. Councillor Daly, you okay?
I
Okay.
stay muted because I have this horrible cough, so sorry.
All right, approval of account expense report, unavailable due to, I'm gonna scratch that. All right, 13, new business.
Nothing.
Nothing, nobody has anything. Closed session, none. All right, 15, next meetings, Thompson Subdivision Sewer Commission is here at the Community Building, November 18th at 7 p.m. I am excited, sorry. Committee of the Whole, November 20th at 6 p.m. here at the Community Building. The next regular council meeting here at the Community Building, December 4th at 6 p.m. All good with those, everybody? Get that? Announcements, 16A, the Nursing Home Without Walls presentation, November 19th at 6 p.m. at the Community Building. The Seniors Digital Literacy Program, first session is November 29th at 10 a.m.
Can I just
Oh,
add
yeah,
something to that nursing home without walls? On November 21st at the
50 plus
the 50 plus club, they're having one on,
Palliative care and they made.
yeah.
Is that just an information session for the public?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a doctor.
I saw it today, yeah.
and I,
It's a physician coming in
Yeah.
and giving a presentation.
Dr. Wilditch?
No,
With M and it's two
I
syllables.
can't,
I've not heard
yeah, I
any.
can't think of his name now.
Oh, there's not very many.
But I would, if anybody's planning on going, just to RSV them soon or quickly,
Yeah.
just so
Yeah.
they have an idea, because this went out a while back and they asked for an RSVP, so just to make sure there's seats or enough seats there, because. All right, digital literacy program, I think I already said November 29th at 10 a.m. The Christmas market and community tree lighting is November 30th. And check our Facebook for updates or our social media. And breakfast with Santa, December 21st at 8 home jumping through.
I wasn't sure, Tina, if you wanted people to register with you, or did you want them to register here at the office? For the kids,
Whichever's easier.
whichever's easier for you, will be just fine by me.
Or fighting.
Oh, I didn't, it's not fighting, it's offering.
Who wants?
Would it be easier for you, Tina, if we took the list? Or would you rather have?
They have access. Yeah, I suppose they have an answer machine. They can leave it on the machine if they call. If it's after hours.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. Yep.
Okay,
Register in advance by contacting the office.
sure.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
And it's the same for us that are volunteering for that. What time do we have to be there?
I get back to you. Too.
Thank you.
We'll do up a poster if you just.
Yeah.
Give us, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Seeing nothing else. Everybody's good. I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. Councilor Sullivan,
I'll second.
Councilor Todd.